Hi, everyone. As part of Hulf's Digital Transformation webinar series, we're really excited today to present remote work and data silos in the new novel economy. First off, my name is Vivian Schick. I'm Senior Director of Marketing for Hulft, a comprehensive data logistics platform. I will be your moderator today and want to welcome you to our webinar where we'll talk about how the new novel economy is impacting the way we work and more specifically, data silos. Joining us today is our presenter, Irfan Karahoka, Senior Technology and Alliance Manager for Hulft. He has decades of experience in bringing product and service ROI for customers by blending both technical know-how and business requirements. As I mentioned, today's webinar is part of our digital transformation series. And so far, we've covered a really wide range of topics. All webinars are currently available on demand. To kick off today's presentation, we're going to first pose this question of what exactly is the new novel economy? Novel means new and unusual, and this perfectly describes these times. We are facing a new level of disruption where we have very little expertise and no best practices to guide us. Irfan, can you help us set the context of what all of this means and how it relates to digital transformation and data silos?
Sure, thanks, Vida. So we've all been deeply and permanently affected by COVID-19, and not just as a disease, but also the impact it's had on people generally. On health, on our habits, on the employment, and on the economy as well. So we're in something new, and this is causing a wide-scale behavioral change and economic impact like nothing else before. So even digitally mature businesses that were able to pivot during this time, they have to work differently. There's a natural pull not to figure out how to operate in this world, but instead how to replicate the old world in the new conditions. So remote working during the pandemic is not actual remote work. It's much harder by the circumstances of the crisis, including lack of childcare, anxiety about getting sick or losing a job, and the ability, the inability to work in person, even if it's desirable. So as this cartoon depicts, that the vast majority of us are now digital first out of necessity rather than habit or desire. Just to set the background, here's a look at the remote working pre and post-COVID. So penetration of home working varies based on the sector and the nature of the job. But on average, before lockdown, about 30% of us were working from home, at least part-time. And at the moment, we see that over 70% of us are working from home. So not surprise here, but you see the extreme jump between the numbers. So one of the key findings we see is in terms of the average cost savings for those who are working from home. So savings are due to outside meals, commute, travel. Again, no surprise, but we just wanted to provide some numbers to set the background of our current home working environment. So another point I'd like to make here is the productivity levels as well. There are many statistics out there, and overall home working is resulting in higher levels of productivity. Of course, it's not the case for everyone, and it will depend on your household situation, whether you have children or not, or whether you've got a partner who thinks this is a good opportunity to complete all those tasks that you've been avoiding.
Yeah, and let's take a look from the employer perspective. According to a global workplace analytics report, a typical employer can save about 8,500 pounds a year for every person who works remotely half of the time. Irfan, can you speak more to the employers and how they're being impacted?
Sure. So the savings are on both sides. And here are some companies that have typically been um, open to this idea. Now, there are companies that have typically been resistant, but are now forced to reconsider home working. So there's a few recognizable brands on the screen where we've got Barclays CEO that said crowded corporate offices with thousands of employees may be a thing of the past. Morgan Stanley's CEO is uncertain about what work life will look like after the pandemic, but has said that the bank would need much less real estate because about 90% of their employees have already been working from home during the pandemic. So companies are realizing that they can have savings within this environment, whether it's from corporate offices, heating, electricity, travel, all those expenses are now reduced while productivity is continuing and in some cases increasing. So this might not always be possible for every job function. However, in the novel economy, home working is here to stay. And with this shift on how people are working, digital transformation is becoming a mandate now. So digital transformation started mainly with the business to consumer market. Business to business was a little bit behind, but COVID has now pushed it up the list of priorities. Now everyone has to consider it and implement it wherever possible. You've got travel bans, school closures, social distancing. We're facing a growing imperative that makes us turn to digital tools within our places of work, home, and education. So companies that are already using the technology and will continue to do so, plus rethink their models for the future. These will be the companies that will be ahead of the competition, obviously. But companies that were reluctant to the concept of distributed workforce, they've now been forced to allow working from home in order to stop the spread of the virus. So many will realize the benefits on both for the employees and the organizations, especially when DX can be done effectively and efficiently.
Thanks for setting the broader context, Irfan. Digital transformation is a big topic, and for this webinar, we want to narrow it in on the role data plays within any digital transformation journey. First, Irfan, can you explain just what exactly are data silos and how does it fit into this discussion around digital transformation?
That's a great point. So data silos, one of the big challenges is that within the digital transformation. Data silos simply is that where your data lives in different places, from legacy systems, ERP, CRM, data warehouse, cloud. So every application will put the data where it needs it. Now, why is this happening? There are three sort of main drivers that build the data silos. The biggest one is obviously legacy systems, and any business that is privileged enough to have a long history will inevitably have a legacy system somewhere. Acquisitions will also bring in disparate systems into the business environment. There's also the cultural dimension. So many applications were written for a particular group within the company. So you have HR, you have operations, finance, sales. They're all applications that are optimized for their needs. And again, those groups have no incentive or are just not used to sharing data. You also have misalignment between IT and line of business that slows down the transformation initiatives. So the average organization has hundreds of applications, but less than 30% are actually currently integrated. Now in Holft, our belief is that data should work for you, not the other way around. And we align the best strategic and technical resources to solve the most complex data logistics problems and accelerate the data infrastructure, not just today, but well into the future. So data is the lifeblood of your business, and it should be enabled to flow where it is needed, when it is needed, and in the format that it's expected by the destination system. Data becomes information, information becomes knowledge, and knowledge becomes the wisdom that you run your business with. And in order to transform that data into knowledge and wisdom, you need to help it flow, to the right place at the right time, accurately and reliably.
So we talk a lot about business success depending on full access to data and quick action. But it's not just about breaking down silos, it's also strategically working with data where it resides. Processing technologies are key, but tell us more about how a company with limited budget and IT resources can start reducing friction in leveraging their data. How does data integration play a role?
So the transformation itself is a journey, not an event or a sprint. Now, according to Gartner, culture and data literacy are the top two roadblocks. So you can start by considering establishing a chief data officer function to define and advocate a data-driven mindset within the whole business, to build a culture of sharing with the help of technology. You can begin with high value opportunities and go from there. Now, at each step, you're moving towards an integrated ecosystem of enterprise data. So at this point, just be careful not to be creating a whole new data silos in the process. Now, data integration itself, it involves cross functions across the whole of the organization. And there are two critical elements that determine the success of the digital transformation. Now, one is to have a technological enablers, and the other is leadership. You may have the best technology in place, you may have a great strategy and vision, but they're all just ideas and words on paper or on your website. It's the people in the organization that will turn that vision into reality. And it's the leadership's responsibility to make sure that everyone is walking in the right direction and in the appropriate speed as well. Now, leadership doesn't mean you have to plan your strategy in detail, or that you go to the other extreme where you can just energize the company and wait for great things to happen. You have to articulate your vision, start the journey with the critical initiatives, and then you engage your people to build that vision over time. What technology you use or what technology you invest in is important, but how you use that technology to transform your business is even more important. One of the key technological enablers that can help you in this transformation journey is a data logistics platform that is agile enough to let you construct any business logic required within a given process, drag and drop style configuration that allows business people themselves to build what they need, utilizing their full understanding of that specific business process without relying on IT. Hundreds of connectors that will allow you to create an ecosystem of applications talking to each other. Whether you have a legacy system or a modern system with a full set of REST APIs, manufacturing machines, processing sensors, or you just want to feed your BI tools with fresh transactional data. They can now talk to each other harmoniously without you having to change or replace your current systems. So the dots don't need to be alone and isolated anymore. They can be connected via the Holft Integrate platform. Now, as I mentioned before, a lot of your success will depend on how much you invest in your culture, which shapes people's attitude towards data. So treating information as a business asset, similar to auto parts or pharmaceutical ingredients, is the first step. It's something that is owned and controlled by the business. The ability to read, write, and communicate and interpret data in context, understand data sources, data constructs, and analytical models. These are attitudes that will have a huge impact on the business. The understanding of data should be widespread within the organization, so you avoid different interpretations of the same data.
So speaking of organizations and job functions, this is a good time to talk about how some of this can play out in real life. And so I'd like to introduce one of Holft's customers, Jalix Americas, which is a global wholesale distributor of aviation parts, marine, agricultural, and consumer products. This customer is a great example of how Holft helped them break down human constructed silos that occurred through years of doing manual entry, data entry. Irfan, can you walk us through what Jalix accomplished and how we helped to get them there?
Sure. So as I said, Jalix is one of our large customers based in America. And within their environment, now anytime data is touched by humans, objectivity will decrease and errors will increase. It's normal. And here there were data silos holding critical information from non-digital invoices, shipping documents, where they were manually entered into their in-house database and their ERP system. So how did Holft break down these data silos? First of all, we put data capture, which enabled sales and operations teams to digitally scan a document with the key fields captured. Holft Integrate then converts the data and maps it into the Jalix database and their ERP systems. So in a few weeks, we put together a process where the PDF is detected as an email attachment or in a designated folder. It's then passed through the optical character recognition engine, where the relevant data fields are extracted. The user then has the option to visually inspect that document on the screen and have it automatically entered into the destination ERP system or database, or hold it for further validation. Alternatively, they can let the whole thing automate, so without any validation, if they put all the rules they want in there. So the job now takes half the time with half the people and no human errors.
Great. And we have another customer who is in the fintech space, and they wanted to enhance the user experience for their customers by turning their online trading platform into real time. So to accomplish this, they looked to Holft. Irfan, can you explain?
Yeah, this is a great example. So as I mentioned earlier, Holft Integrate is a no-coding platform, which means it's quick and agile to build any business logic. It also offers the loose coupled integration, where a change in one system does not impact the other system. Together with that, you have the rich list of connectors, which means you can connect to any system that you need to. And if we don't already have a connector for a system that you've got in your environment, we have the software development kit, which allows us to quickly build a dedicated connector. So behind the scenes of this single trading platform, there are 6 different systems talking to each other via Holft Integrate. Now, Holft Integrate here is acting as a hub, passing messages between systems, fetching data and feeding it to the platform, sending notifications of status changes, harmonizing all the systems with the latest status and data to act as one, and removing the risk of human error within that. Excuse me. So when data is available only in silos, no one has the big picture. And here's a snapshot how Holft has worked with different organizations within various industries, helping them get control of their data to make better business decisions. I'd like to point out here the variety of silos that existed: HR, finance, warehouse, legacy systems, and more. And this may, some of it may look very familiar to you because most businesses have this type of systems within their environment. Now, Holft provides a no-code data integration platform that connects your data sources no matter where they are. But breaking down data silos is more than just an IT task. So if you lack your own IT team, our professional services team works closely with you to build data collaboration into your workflows. Together, we help you take the first step in bringing your team together and get them to commit to sharing data, and ultimately help you create a more collaborative culture and build an integrated ecosystem within your organization.
Thanks, Irfan. So before we sign off, I want to quickly provide an introduction of Holft and who we are. We have a really rich heritage in this field of data logistics. We've helped over 10,000 customers in 43 countries with their digital transformation initiatives. In addition, we own 100% of banks within Japan, as well as 100% of Japanese car manufacturers. All of these organizations hold themselves as our longstanding customers. Holft is a part of Saison Information Systems, and we are celebrating a very important milestone this year, which is our 50th anniversary. And on this slide, I've included a few more resources for you that are available on our website. And with that, we hope this webinar inspires conversations within your organization about digital transformation. Digital readiness starts with Holft, and whether you're just beginning or already well on your way, consider partnering with us to help you remain competitive and future ready. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're always here for you. Thanks again for your time.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you for your time, and look forward to talking to you soon.